is synonymous with quality craftsmanship in the tradition of America's finest artisans. Longaberger baskets are simply the very best hand-woven baskets made in the entire world. The Longaberger family would have no less. The story of Longaberger baskets dates to the turn of the century, when flight was a novelty, motor cars had rumble seats, and life was unhurried. In tiny Dresden, Ohio, Daddy John Longaberger was making baskets for the community's pottery industry. His boy John Wendell learned how to select a straight maple and craft a tight weave. Years later, John Wendell, known as J.W. Longaberger, continued the family basket tradition working in a shop owned by local businessman Guy Ryan. The baskets he carefully crafted brought him recognition as the region's master basket maker. During the mid-1920s, J.W. courted and in 1927 married a local girl, Bonnie Jean Gist. A few years later, Mr. Ryan decided to get out of the basket business and sold his shop and the accompanying house to J.W. and Bonnie Longaberger for $1,900. Calling his business the Ohio Ware Company, J.W. made quality baskets for townspeople and farmers around Dresden, often trading the baskets for eggs, milk, and bread. When not making baskets, he tended a large garden out behind the house. J.W. needed a large garden. He had a large family to feed.
There were 12 in the family. 6 boys and 6 girls.
Great.
Only some of them was usually 2 years apart. A couple of them was only a year apart. I had one in January and one in November.
Eventually, to supplement the family income, J.W. took a job working swing shift at the paper mill in town. Through it all, he continued to make baskets.
He'd go down to the shop and take his radio, and he'd down there all day. But he liked to make baskets, and he made good baskets. You could hear all the soap operas down there, people screaming and shooting, and when you'd go past. But that's about all it was on in the afternoon. It'd be soap operas. The oldest girl and the 2 boys, Jerry and Larry, helped him. And Richie and Popeye would, well, they'd lay bottoms for the pottery baskets, if they could catch them. Because Popeye, or Dave never was home. He was gone by the time he could walk. And Richie, he'd help some. But you had to catch them before they got away.
J.W. passed away in 1973, but he left behind a legacy of family pride, hard work, and a strong belief in the American dream. All 12 of J.W.'s children have been successful in their chosen fields, but the continuation of the family's basket-making heritage was picked up by the 5th child, Dave Longaberger, known from childhood as Popeye.
Dave was 3 weeks old before I named him. And his grandfather, or we called him Daddy John, was up, and he said, well, just call him Popeye. He's got big brown eyes, and they kind of stick out, so that's what we did. For a couple of weeks, we called him Popeye. Then I decided to call him David Wendell, after his dad, and he's my dad.
Of the 12 Longaberger children, Dave was thought to be the least likely to succeed. He failed 5th grade 3 times, and when eventually graduating from high school, he read at a 7th grade level. Dave stuttered so badly most people couldn't understand a word he was saying.
When I finally finished school, and I had to take a good look at myself, and what I saw, I thought a lot of insecurity there, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? So as soon as I finished school, I took a job with Fuller Brush, going door to door, and this was an unbelievable experience.
Later, after serving in the Army, Dave drove a bakery truck delivering bread to local grocery stores. And when the old Dresden Dairy Bar diner came up for sale, a friend co-signed the loan and Dave bought it. The diner had 2 booths, 2 tables, and 8 stools. Dave named it Popeye's. Business was brisk and Dave was making money. He bought the defunct A&P grocery in town, remodeled and expanded the building, and opened the Dresden IGA food liner.
He had the store and he had the restaurant. And I mean, they were making money for him. myself or most men would have been happy. That's it. I've got a good thing going here, so I'll keep it going and just reap the harvest from it. Not Dave, he has other dreams.
The rest in the store was doing fine, but I knew there was something else that I had to do. And I started searching around for something else because I wanted to take the experience and the talent that I have learned through the store and the restaurant to do something else. So in my search, I noticed the large department stores. There was bigger and bigger display of baskets. They were all foreign baskets. And I thought, my heavens, Dad's baskets are 10 times better than these. But I knew there's no way that we could compete with the foreign baskets. So I continued my search of looking for something else to do, but I couldn't get Dad's baskets out of my mind.
Deciding to give baskets a try, Dave dug out his dad's old basket forms, and 5 friends were taught to weave. Longaberger Baskets was in business.
We started out selling in shops, but we couldn't tell the story. Selling the shops couldn't tell the Longaberger story that I wanted told about Mom and Dad and the 12 kids, my brothers and sisters there. So and I knew that we had a good merchandising basket, and I knew we needed a good marketing story. If we could come up with some way that we could tell the purpose of these baskets. I came across 3 things. It seemed like the more I could get my customers to trust me, and the more comfortable that they felt with me, and the more they understood my sense of humor, I sold more products. They felt comfortable, and I felt comfortable, and the less stuttering that I done. The home party plan's the way to sell. And oh my God, I thought my mind was going to explode. This is the way to sell, and the rest is history.
Selling directly to customers in home shows was a stroke of marketing genius. The boy who wasn't expected to amount to much became known nationwide as the man who makes those wonderful baskets. Today, Longaberger baskets are sold in all 50 states by several thousand Longaberger basket consultants. And in the Longaberger family tradition, each and every basket is handmade of the very finest materials, just the same way J.W. lovingly crafted them years ago. A Longaberger basket today gets its start here in the log yard of the company's veneering plant in Hartville, a small town in northeastern Ohio. Longaberger insists on using only hardwood maple of the very highest quality. After all, to end up with the finest hand-woven basket made in America, you must start with the very best timber money can buy. Supervising every detail in the yard is Dave McBride. He's stubborn about quality. Dave and his logging experts carefully inspect every single piece of timber. And if the log fails to pass muster for any reason, it will never be used in Longaberger baskets.
There are several defects that will reject a log from our uses. One is a burl, like is on this log here, curly maple, bird peck, knot holes, and hollows in the end of a log. This log here is a nice quality log that would produce a lot of baskets for us. It's clean, straight, and no defects on it.
Inspecting and grading these maple logs is a big job. As many as 100 logs are trucked into here every day from a 5-state area, including Ohio, Michigan, and New York. Before these massive maple logs can be veneered, they must first take a ride through here, the debarking machine. It takes about 2 minutes to roll a log and chew away the bark. As a byproduct, the bark is an excellent mulch, perfect for gardening. Periodically, landscapers stop by to haul away these valuable mountains of mulch. Meanwhile, the debarked log is sent through a hydraulic saw and cut into blocks. The largest are a little over 5 feet long. Each block is picked up by an overhead hoist and loaded into a below-ground concrete vat, one of 4 vats here at the Hartville plant. It takes about 90 blocks to fill 1 vat. As plant manager, Lola Eddy oversees every aspect of the veneering process.
After the logs are cut into the block, we place them in 4 of our steam vats. Each vat holds 90 block. They are then cooked at 200 degrees to make the wood pliable for the weavers.
The maple blocks aren't boiled in water, rather they're poached in hot steam in these covered vats. The cooked logs are still very hot when pulled from the vat and taken to the veneering room. The block is about 160 degrees when put on the lathe. According to the old pros here, the warmer the log, the smoother the veneer. The knife is kept razor sharp. In fact, the knife is sharpened twice a day. The veneer must meet exacting standards for thickness and overall quality. The lathe operator oversees this critical step in the process very carefully. And the operator must always be alert to quickly shut off the lathe in case the knife nicks a hunter's stray bullet. More than one of these expensive knives has been damaged or ruined by a steel bullet buried deep inside the log. It only takes about 5 minutes to veneer one of these forest giants, and the sheets of veneer are about 15 feet long. The knife slices off about 20 sheets of veneer from each block. That's enough maple wood to make about 250 Longaberger baskets. At Longaberger, quality comes first. Every foot of veneer is inspected, and if it doesn't pass inspection, it's quickly discarded. At the veneering table, there's another quality check. Using finely tuned calipers, the thickness of the veneer is carefully scrutinized. The lathe is a very exact piece of equipment. It turns out veneer in various thicknesses, from 1/32 of an inch for weaving and forming to 1/12 and 1/16 of an inch for bands. At the clipper, the veneer is cut into the various widths needed for basket weaving, splints, bands, and bottoms. Widths are double-checked to guarantee what goes into a Longaberger basket meets the Longaberger family's high-quality standards. The splints and weaving are immediately cooled to prevent mold and to keep the wood from drying out. It will all be trucked to Dresden, Ohio, about 2 hours from here, and tomorrow made into famous Longaberger baskets. In addition to the veneering process, the Hartville plant is also where some of our weaving takes on our famous country colors.
Most people think all we do here at Hartville is the veneering of the stock and the weaving of the baskets, but we also do the dyeing of the splints that you'll see in your collar baskets.
The dye room is open 16 hours a day. It's here where weaving, including the shoestring weaving that makes the Longaberger Heartland collection so special, takes on Longaberger's famous colors.
We use RIT dye to dye the splints. We use 200 to 300 pounds a week. We use RIT dye because it produces the colors that our customers like.
There are 6 dye tanks like this one. Gas burners warm the mixture of dye and water to about 135 degrees. Using rubber gloves, Roberta and her crew work the weaving. They use color samples and their own years of experience to make sure the particular color is just the right intensity. The colored weaving is then rinsed by hose. By the way, the dye room requires 3,000 gallons of water every day. After a thorough washdown, the color is sealed into the wood by soaking the weaving for 30 minutes in a cold saltwater bath. From the bath, the weaving is again rinsed, then loaded on carts and shipped to Dresden. Each day, several trucks loaded with basket materials make the 2-hour run from Hartville south to Longaberger Plant 1 in Dresden. In Dresden, the carts of weaving are unloaded and quickly rolled to a large refrigerated room. At a temperature of about 28 degrees, the weaving is cooled to retain its natural moisture and freshness. Within less than 24 hours, the maple wood is rolled from the cooler to be made into Longaberger baskets. Some of the weaving material is taken directly to the basket weaving floor, while the material to be made into splints is taken to the sawman. The sawmen cut the hardwood maple into the various lengths of splints used to make the many styles of Longaberger baskets. Each day, the sawmen cut about 30 different lengths of splints. The splints are taken directly to the formers, who are hand-making the bottoms of the baskets. While this is going on, the miter man cuts and shapes the bottom reinforcements. The maple wood is kept in the cooler until needed by the miter man, who cuts the strips of wood to the correct lengths. At another saw, he makes miter cuts to finish the reinforcements. At Longaberger, all bottom reinforcements are trimmed in this way to prevent a basket's bottom from snagging or splitting. The miter man sorts the reinforcements by type and length. About 1/4 of these reinforcements receive the famous Longaberger basket's Dresden, Ohio logo. The logo is carefully burned into the wood by the stamper. Each of these bottom reinforcements will be used in the handcrafting of a Longaberger basket. Delivered to the former by a runner, the bottom reinforcements and splints are put together in a wood mold. Since J.W. believed a basket should be made to last, Longaberger baskets are reinforced with double splints for extra strength. Splints are carefully hand-tacked. The Longaberger family is proud that throughout the making of a Longaberger basket, there is no stapling and no gluing. Longaberger artisans never take shortcuts. When completed, the bottom is checked by a quality assurance expert who then initials the bottom, indicating it meets Longaberger standards. In the weaving area, runners deliver the bottoms and weaving materials to the basket weavers. Here, a Longaberger weaver begins the basket weaving process by wrapping a maple band around the basket form. These forms, banded in steel, are handmade of wood at plant 1 within a tolerance of a 1/16 of an inch. After it's wrapped around the form, the band is tacked in place. The bottom is then secured on the form with a screw down, which resembles a large vise. The weaver swings the weaving horse's arm over into position, and the basket is ready to be woven. For extra strength, nearly all Longaberger baskets are woven with double thicknesses of weaving. The weaver inspects each strip of weaving to make sure there are no splits, cracks, or breaks. After a few weaves are completed and the basket begins to take shape, 1 or 2 up splints are tacked to the band. The over and under process of weaving hasn't changed for hundreds of years. Just as J.W. Longaberger passed the weaving art from his father to his children, Longaberger's weavers learn the art in much the same way. Under the experienced eyes of a longtime basket maker, the weaver learns the intricate craft of hand-making America's finest baskets. It takes about 6 months for one of these artisans to learn to weave all the different styles of Longaberger baskets. Depending on the size basket, 20 to 30 minutes are required to make a Longaberger original. The secret of a strong, durable basket is in a tight weave. As the weaver works the maple wood, the weaving is pulled and wrapped around the corners. To make the weaving as tight as possible, a tapper and hammer are used to tap the weaving together and close any gaps. The weaver turns the basket and trims the up splints. This is called giving the basket a haircut. The last strips of maple are woven into the basket and firmly tapped in position. The weaving process is completed by attaching an outer band and trim strip. These are carefully tacked in place. In a Longaberger basket, a tack is used at each and every up splint. Again, there are no shortcuts. The trim strip is folded under the end of the band and tacked. Quickly turning the screw down, the basket's bottom is freed from the vise. Using the tapper and hammer, the tightly woven basket is removed from the wood form. In the Longaberger family tradition, the weaver signs the bottom of the basket and records the year. The weaver's initials and the year in which the basket was crafted make this a prized Longaberger collectible. After the weaving process, a quality control expert carefully inspects every aspect of the basket's construction. This expert makes sure the basket is tightly woven and was made without cracks or breaks. Throughout the making of a Longaberger basket, the Longaberger family insists on strict quality control. The basket is gently placed in a shopping cart and from the weaving floor taken to Plant 1's holding room. Here, the baskets are sorted by basket type or style and placed on carts. On these carts, the baskets dry and become rigid. The baskets are protected in sheets of cardboard, and the carts are rolled into trucks for the quick trip across town to Longaberger Plant 3. Here at Plant 3, the former paper mill where J.W. Longaberger worked swing shift, the basket undergoes the final stages before it's sent to a Longaberger customer. The baskets are unloaded, and those requiring handles are taken to the handle department. Longaberger uses hardwood maple for its handles. In the handle department, craftsmen boil the maple sticks to make them supple enough to bend around wood forms. As the handles dry, they take on the curved shape of the form. Longaberger makes several different handle designs, and every handle is crafted by hand. If a basket is to have a stationary handle, the artisan places the handle between the inner and outer bands of the basket. The handle is carefully aligned and then tacked in place by using a hammer and a small anvil. Some baskets receive swinging handles. At Longaberger, swinging handles are attached with copper rivets placed through wood washers. After receiving handles, baskets are placed on carts and taken to the staining room. In the staining area, baskets are hung on hooks and then rotated through the staining chamber, where 30 sprayers cover the baskets with non-solvent stain. To remove excess stain, the baskets are spun from 60 to 90 seconds. The basket is carefully removed by hand and wiped with cloth. The stain is sealed into the wood by passing the basket through a gas-fired dryer. The basket is dried at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. After a thorough drying, each basket is hand inspected inside and out, and a product history tag is slipped between the weaves. As orders are received from Longaberger's national network of sales consultants, each order is personally filled. The consultant's order becomes the shopping list as the grocery cart is pushed through the stacks of brand new Longaberger baskets. The baskets are selected and the cart is quickly filled. The cart is then rolled to the checkout lane, where quality assurance experts again inspect each and every basket to make sure they meet the Longaberger family's high standards. The grocery cart containing the order is pushed to the packing room. The order is again checked to make sure every item is included and every basket is of the highest quality. As the order is checked, each basket is packed in sheets of local newspaper. Some of our customers enjoy reading news about Dresden and nearby Ohio villages almost as much as they love their Longaberger baskets. When the order is complete, the shipping sheet is initialed. The cartons are sealed and loaded onto UPS trucks for delivery to Longaberger hostesses in all 50 states. More than 60,000 baskets are handmade every week, and Dresden is quickly becoming known as the basket capital of the United States. Americans are fascinated with Dave Longaberger's story and the little company in Ohio that still believes in American craftsmanship. The Longaberger Basket Company is among the very last factories in this nation still producing an essentially all handmade product. While in Dresden, we invite you to visit the Longaberger restaurant on the site of the original Popeye's Diner and the Village Etc. shop where Longaberger souvenirs abound, including the famous Longaberger tourist basket. The future for the Longaberger family of companies is bright, and Dave Longaberger continues to dream big dreams. During the next several years, he hopes to develop a national restaurant chain. To be called Longaberger Family Restaurants, each location will be a replica of a large Longaberger market basket.
This building will be entirely different from any other restaurant you've ever seen. It will look like one of our baskets. It'll have woven splints around it. It'll have handles on it. When you step into this Longaberger restaurant, the decor will be all in Longaberger products. There are baskets and plants all over it. We'll have two levels. It'll be over 11,000 square feet restaurant. It'll be one of the largest ones around.
Dave's ultimate dream is the development of the Longaberger Basket Village on more than 5,000 acres just outside of Dresden.
This is a major project. It's a dream that I've dreamed about for 10 years. Every building in that complex will depict a basket.
It's to be a national tourist attraction, representing the cultures, foods, and entertainment from throughout the United States.
Something similar to Disney World, not on that big of a scale, but it could be. We're just dreaming here the same way that we set up the company here. We started out with $135, and we developed into a $50 million company, and this year maybe do $60 million. So the dreams are there.
Thanks to Longaberger and Longaberger Baskets, Dresden is becoming a vacation destination where one may stroll the streets of yesteryear and recall times when life was unhurried and neighbors waved a friendly hello. This is Dresden, Ohio, the proud home of Longaberger Baskets, simply America's best.